Caddis Maximus here, this time with a review of the PowerBuilt front-end service set, known as Kit 3. This is a 5-piece service set, and what you have is a small and large pitman arm pullers, tie rod end puller, a tie rod end lifter, and a ball joint remover, and of course the screw for the lifter. In the vehicle I use this on, which is a Mitsubishi, this thing, you know, these tools and these ball joint don't fit on all cars, not by a long shot. But you do get the kits because one piece or another you'll end up being able to use maybe one of these or this to pop the ball joint. In my case, it was ridiculously stuck, and in the tight space I actually had to grind this down to get it to fit. And I had to put a huge amount of pressure where the bolt was all the way up, and you can actually see here that center pin used to be straight, and I actually bent it out, nearly broke the tool. I had to get full tension on it and hit it with a hammer to finally get that ball joint to pop. So not all ball joints are really very easy, but I was surprised that this thing, it almost failed, but it did hold up under some pretty severe conditions, so I'll generally recommend the set. It's all forged components. If we look at the pitman arm pullers, we can see the large forging lines. One thing is this tie rod end puller actually is cast steel, and you can tell that because it has really thin flashing lines there, and that is definitely not forged. It may be powdered metallurgy, but I doubt it. I think it's just cast steel. So it's not cast iron, it's going to be steel, but it is cast. This piece is not forged. But this is the one that I've used quite a bit for pulling bearings, and actually used it to push a bushing out. So really I bought this kit for the tie rod end puller. But it is pretty handy. It has a nice little cup on the end, which is, there we go, a nice little swivel. And there just isn't a whole lot to these kits besides helping pull apart suspension components. I will say that the finish is kind of rough on these, but they're just fine. And the kit was very competitively priced. PowerBuilt makes some pretty nice service kits. There's a lot of brands that make really nice ones, but the PowerBuilts, for their costs, have always been pretty reasonable. And when you go to O'Reilly's, these are the ones you end up renting. So that's how I got exposed to them, and thought this was one of the handiest kits because I could use so many of the other components for pulling bearings and other uses besides actually suspension work. Harbor Freight makes kits like these too, and to tell you the truth, I did buy a Harbor Freight kit with one of these things here, and it broke on me doing the operation that this PowerBuilt successfully completed. It nearly broke, but the Harbor Freight, this finger broke off on me. So that's why I ended up returning it and just getting something a little bit higher quality. Because in that situation, it was really high force and just slightly low, or the bit lower quality of the materials from the Harbor Freight set just wasn't up to the task. So this is one of those situations where you probably want to avoid Harbor Freight. Because in, you know, a lot of situations the Harbor Freight will work, but when you get in any tough situations like I was, it would just fail. And so the PowerBuilt is not very much more money than the Harbor Freight, and is a whole lot more quality. So anyway, I just wanted to bring you a review of this front-end service set. They're pretty commonly used for replacing ball joints and stuff, and just give you my opinion on it. Once again, thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe. Caddis Maximus out.